prices are down. Narcotic scourge continues to grow.
In the 1970s and 80s, Harlem was alive. Music, fashion, hustlers, and dreams. But behind the lights and the style, a new generation was quietly rising. Three names would define that era: Rich Porter, Easy Faison, and Alpo Martinez. Richard Porter was born in Harlem, 1965. He grew up with his younger sister, Pat, and his younger brother, Darnell. Their mother, Velma, raised the kids while their father remained distant, never living at home. As a child, Rich hustled however he could. Newspapers, eggs, even small bags of weed and fake hash sold to suburban kids in New Jersey.
Anything to try to stay afloat. Shit. I known him to sell, the first thing I know him to sell was sage and eggs.
Sage and eggs to make his hash.
He would cook up the sage and eggs, and it smells like hash, and he would sell it to the white boys coming out of Jersey.
But by 14, he leveled up with the help of a dealer named Ellison. Rich began selling heroin. Rich was different. He didn't hustle. He had style. Even before the money came, he stood out. Just a few miles away, another story was unfolding. Easy Faison grew up in the Bronx with 5 sisters and 2 brothers. His family struggled on welfare, ate bologna sandwiches at night, every night, where his father had to hide from inspectors when they came around, because if you had a working father in the house, they'll cut your welfare off. When their home burnt down, the family spent 6 months in a shelter before relocating to Harlem in the early 1970s.
The problem with Danceteria is it's like a fashion club, you know?
Harlem was alive. Sugar Hill, they had the Triggers Lounge, Marshall's gambling spot. For young AZ, it was a world of music and possibility. At 13, AZ met Rich. By then, Rich was already hustling, but their bond grew through everyday life. AZ worked at a local cleaners for $75 a week. Rich would bring his clothes in sometimes, or even ask AZ to hold his drugs or even his gun in the back. Rich's sister, Pat Porter, grew close to AZ during this time. Pat and AZ's bond grew and turned into something more. And one day, Pat revealed she was pregnant. Rich was furious at first.
And then it was my brother, him and A had to talk like, yeah, my sister's pregnant, what you gonna do? And he said, be a father.
By 16, Rich looked the part of a superstar. He drove a black BMW 528E, wore diamond chains, and never wore the same outfit twice. Harlem had never seen someone his age shine like this. By 1981, Harlem's nightlife was thriving, but with money came danger. In 1985, Rich's close friend, L.A., was killed outside the Rooftop, a popular Harlem nightclub. Soon after, Rich became a target. L.A.'s mom's house was robbed a few months back before L.A. was killed. Rich and L.A. went after the same guys that robbed L.A.'s mom's house, but didn't succeed in taking them out. Those same guys came back and killed L.A. and then went after Rich. One afternoon while Rich was washing his car, Rich was ambushed, but Rich had on a bulletproof vest and a gun on him. He shot back at the attackers, but they escaped. Rich was arrested, but did time for the gun and served a year in prison. While Rich was locked up, AZ found his own lane. In 1983, the film Scarface became a cultural blueprint for Harlem's youth. Around that time, AZ met a guy named Lou, a Colombian guy, a dealer with connections and product.
He used to have a spot on 157th Street between Broadway and Amsterdam. A friend of mine used to go up there, introduce me to him. and I was working in the cleaners. He gave me some clothes, but I found some shit in his pocket. I gave it back to him. He's like, nah, keep that. And then one thing led to the next. I took that shit to the streets, and that's how we became connected, brother.
AZ had a friend named Gangsta Lou, and his mother owned a spot that hasn't been open for business in years, called the Green Door. AZ ends up taking over the spot and turning it into a cocaine hub. At its peak, the spot made $50,000 a day. He added a second location called the Jukebox, where drugs were stashed inside arcade games. When Rich came home in 1986, Harlem welcomed him back like a star. AZ gave him cash, a car, and a kilo of cocaine. Rich wasted no time rebuilding his crew and climbing even higher. While Rich and AZ were making moves, a third figure was rising. Alberto Martinez, better known as Alpo, was born in Harlem in 1966. As a child, Alpo was loved. His mother sent him to summer camps, the Fresh Air Fund, even to stay with a white family every summer. Bright, athletic, and street smart, he seemed destined for more. But Harlem pulled him in. As a teen, Alpo began hustling heroin early to catch fiends on the block. He was sharp and disciplined and always hungry for money. But the game is a tough business, and to be in it, you have to be aggressive. When Alpo met Randy, another hustler in East Harlem, Randy brought out Alpo's aggressive side. Alpo found another hustle, sticking up dealers, using his Spanish to trick Colombian suppliers. Alpo scouted stashes, then robbed them clean. The adrenaline hooked him, and soon his crew controlled East Harlem. By the mid-1980s, the old Harlem hustlers were folding. The Colombians flooded the streets with cheap cocaine. The police focused on smugglers, not local dealers. It was the perfect storm and the perfect time for Rich, AZ, and Alpo. When Alpo met AZ outside the Jukebox, he introduced himself as one of Rich's old connects. After confirming with Rich, AZ brought him in. Soon, Alpo was moving weight on the east side. Their bond grew tighter. When the Jukebox was robbed, Alpo showed up with guns blazing, ready to ride. That loyalty earned him AZ's trust and a place in Harlem's most powerful crew. 3 young men, Rich Porter, AZ Faison, and Alpo Martinez. Together they would change Harlem forever. Their rise was fast, their money endless, but the streets never let anyone shine too long.